Hey everybody, it's Captain Zant. It's time for another interview. This is an adults-only After Dark interview because who I have here are a couple guys from a show I really like, co-creators, stars of it. The show is called Gigahoes. It's absolutely fantastic. And we have Kevin Gilligan and Adam Lash. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Adam.
More. I just did, but introduce yourself more.
Kevin Gilligan. Yes, of the Gilligan family. Of the Gilligan.
All right, so how you guys doing this morning, man?
We are fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm glad to have this interview up and going because I've really enjoyed the show. The first season, it just had me in stitches, and I'm really glad to be able to have you on the show. So
we're glad to be here. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, so now let's jump into it a bit. Go ahead and tell folks who might not know much about Gigahoes yet, the show, the premise of the show and such.
Oh, damn it. You beat me to it. I was going to look at you. So Gigahoes is you're a bastard. Gigahoes is a documentary set about 20 years in the future that follows an escort agency of sex robots as they go about their business trying to save their escort agency as new and more inexpensive sex bots come on the market.
And it's mockumentary style?
Yes. Yeah. So we break the fourth wall a whole bunch, because I personally love that type of style. So we're talking to the audience, we're giving them looks, and it's dirty, but in not a crude way, and there's nudity, but
nothing more than you would see like on FX.
Right, like Archer.
Yeah.
The same thing, stuff you see on Archer. And it's really funny, and I get naked.
He does.
And our other actor gets naked.
He does.
And
I don't.
He does not. No. Kevin plays Steven, the owner of Artificial Intercourse, which is the name of our escort agency. And I play a sex robot who just happens to be named Adam. Just happens.
Makes life easier.
We're writers.
We are.
And great at coming up with character names.
Yes.
So,
it makes sense.
It makes sense in the story.
Yeah.
I mean, keep telling ourselves that.
Yes.
Since he's the earliest edition sex bot you have, right? Or earliest generation, it kind of makes a bit of sense there.
I am a Generation 5 sex robot. Our other actor, Daniel, is a Generation 7 sex bot.
Which is the latest model.
Yeah, he's the new model.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that threatens our business because they're so awesome, but cheap, and socially acceptable now. So we don't know how this escort agency is going to be able to stay afloat when people can just buy their own and don't have to rent anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's the iPhone killer.
Exactly.
There you go. Oh, man. Now, you guys have much improv in these episodes, or are they pretty strictly scripted?
Some. There's, small bits of improv. The second episode, there was some improv with the couple in that episode. Both of them great performers, friends of ours, a couple who are fairly well known in the improv community in New York. Keisha Zoller and Andrew Kimler. We had some improvised moments. Some stayed in, some got cut, just for timing and flow of everything. But for the most part, everything was fairly strict. We didn't have, because we structured the shoot so tightly, we shot everything in 22 days. All 12 episodes in 22 days. Simply because of actor schedules, and we had to get everything as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So it didn't allow for much room for improv, but it still happened.
That's good. There's some moments in there. I'm not sure or not, when I'm watching it, but there's some, just like, God, that was just so brilliant, it just flowed so well, Was that scripted or was that improv?
Doesn't matter, we get credit for writing it.
There you go, see? Like Doug Henning said, it's magic. All right, hey, now let's go ahead and get people watching a clip so that they can start laughing and see a bit about what we're talking about. And in this clip, Kevin, your character is giving Adam a patch, an update.
Yes, an upgrade. Yeah, this is from episode 2, right at the beginning. Kind of really understanding how our robots kind of work.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Diagnostic scan.
We're doing a diagnostic of my system before we download the new upgrades. We do this every 6 months.
And why not just do it through Wi-Fi?
Well, Adam's Wi-Fi modem got damaged when we tried to install a lactation port. Yeah. Besides, this will be faster.
You would not believe the amount of men who want a nurse from another man.
Okay, good clip. Thanks, guys. And don't worry, they'll get dirtier as we go, people. Now, tell us about the who, when, how of Gigahoes was created.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that started 3 years ago. Seems like it's been a while. We'll say 3 years.
Okay.
So 3 years ago, I'm a stand-up comic by nature. I had a joke about sex robots being the ones to lead the robot apocalypse, and then I wrote a sketch about it. That wasn't very good. But a friend of mine said, "Hey, maybe you should explore that theme a little bit more." And then I realized, oh, great, this would work really well as a web series and following sex robots on their day-to-day life. And it really took off. It was a really great idea, but I needed help with it. And a friend of ours said, hey, you should talk to Kevin. He's filthy. Very. There's a lot of really great ideas, and I think he would really like this idea. So Kevin, we knew each other. Not well, but we knew of each other.
He had to be introduced to me several times over. Reintroduced.
Not very memorable guy, huh, Adam?
No, apparently not. Apparently. No.
You're vast. I was really trying to. You saw I was trying to get rid of.
Yep, you were. I will not. No.
Okay. So I forgot all about him, and then needed to be reintroduced. And then we went. We had dinner, and I was like, "Hey, here's this idea." And he's like, "Oh my god, that's really amazing. How about all these ideas?" And then we just kind of like vomited ideas on each other over dinner. And it was amazing. And then like a couple of days later, we sat down and kind of like fleshed out the show and came up with this should be a documentary and here's how many characters we're going to have. And we wrote a whole season in about a couple months. I think it was a couple months to write.
Yeah.
The first version of the first season. And then we had a table read for it. And it did not go over well at all.
Mostly. It went over decently, but there were parts that were very problematic. We were too prolific.
Right. Kevin and I really, we've structured out 5 seasons of the show.
Wow.
The problem was that when we first started writing, we had all these great, grandiose ideas, and we tried to mush them all into the first season.
Yeah.
And then we had the table read, and they're like, okay, so 50% of this is really funny, and the other 50% doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because you killed a character that you introduced 2 pages before, and it's supposed to mean something, and it doesn't, and why if someone gets arrested, it's like, you know what, this was a comedy, this feels more like a drama. So we took all the notes, and went back to the drawing board, and was like, you know what, right, this is supposed to be a comedy, let's just focus on being funny, and stretch the story out, instead of just condensing everything into 12 8-minute episodes. So the second version that we wrote is the version everybody saw.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So two full drafts for this season itself, huh? Mm-hmm. Now about the cast, I want to talk a bit about the cast a fair bit. Before we do, might as well just set up for this next clip. It's one I love, but tell us about the character Jessica and the actress who plays her.
Okay, well, Jessica is played by an actress named Jessica Park. Yes. We did not plan that. No, it just so happens that 2 actors have their characters' names are the same as theirs. But Jessica is probably our hardest character. She's our most important character. We wanted to make sure that we got Jessica right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as you watch the show, horrible things happen to her. But we wanted to make sure that it's not exploitative, that it's not shaming, that it's not that everything was sex positive.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that there wasn't a sense of any badness to it.
No humiliation or anything like that.
Any degradation. This is a robot. This is Jessica is a sex robot, and this is what she is designed for, and it's her embracing her programming, embracing who she is, and not having any shame, and that any shame that people have is what they project onto her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very fine balance that we had to write with her. And Jessica Park is an amazing actress.
Yeah,
She was
really
very,
good.
very game. She understood the character. She realized who Jessica was, and was game for anything that we had for her. And it's proved that she is a great actress. She's in the first episode of the new season of Daredevil.
That's right.
Of the first season.
Yeah?
He's in the first the clip where it was at the very beginning of the show when those guys are taking those girls into the containers to like be shipped away as like sex slaves, or we don't see
Human trafficking.
human trafficking. Our Jessica is one of the girls.
Hey. Very
So-
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, she was like, "Hey guys, I'm not going to be available for like this week for filming. I can't say why." And we're like, "Oh, okay." She goes, "It's for Marvel." And we're like, "Do it, whatever, just do it. We're fine. Just go, do it."
And she, and then after she shot it, she's like, "It was Daredevil." Like, "Ah! Ah!"
I'm like, "Don't tell anyone. But it's amazing. Tell us everything." What was he like? Tell us.
That's way cool.
Imagine.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she is one of my, I couldn't say I have a favorite character, but I love her character, and for obvious reasons, because folks, when you go ahead and watch this clip, you're just going to laugh your ass off, and you're going to instantly love Jessica. So go ahead and run that one right now.
Do you meet a lot of clients out here like this?
Outside like this? No. Dressed like this? Yes. I've been Snow White, because there were 7 guys. Sleeping Beauty, because he wanted to wake me up with his cock. And one time I was Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I had to hop all the way there and back. Did you know that fish have cloacas and not vaginas? It's an all-purpose hole. And so was I.
That scene, and I watched that scene over and over, and the line about an all-purpose hole is just too much.
That was Kevin's. I gotta give credit. Kevin wrote that line. Probably it's like my favorite line of the whole first season. It's really funny.
That is so good. I mean, I've watched that scene over and over. She just nails it. She cracks me up so hard.
Well, we actually used that line for the audition process, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just to make sure, because we knew for Jessica's auditions, the one when we auditioned, it was because we knew we had like Jessica's 2 main episodes were the clip, episode 4, that was the clip, and then later on, episode 10, Double Date. Those were kind of her 2 biggest scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of her.
They typify what the kind of calls Jessica goes on, and what the actress would need to be comfortable with.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we didn't need to give her any direction. She just nailed it in one. So.
Yeah.
She's just so great. She's just so perfect for that character. Just nailed it. So now let's talk more about the cast, though. We want to know about everybody and make sure everyone gets their kudos in here. Tell us all about your cast and crew.
Sure. Okay, so let's start with Brandon. Sure, let's start with the cast. Okay, so Brandon is played by Daniel Florio, who is a very talented sketch.
He's a sketch writer and sketch performer and actor.
Oh, yeah.
Very talented actor. He is off Broadway right now.
Oh, he is?
Wow.
Yeah. My Big Gay Italian Funeral, I think that's the name of it.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There you go. All right.
Awesome. He works with, he's still with Grape Duchess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's a part of a sketch group called the Grape Duchess of York.
Mm-hmm.
They are kind of prolific in coming up with sketches about every month or so.
Yeah.
Very funny. They actually put on a show here in the city, like a 4D interactive, both videos and live performance on stage type of show. It's really funny. I actually had some of the other pieces of my sketch group,
were in
the show.
Gigahoes.
But Dan came in, kind of in and around the last minute. We had casted somebody else for Brandon, but situations and schedules.
He had booked a national commercial and was like, I have to take that because it's lots of money, and it also would make him SAG.
Right.
Oh, okay.
No.
So, but we're like, crap, we need somebody we can trust and we can rely upon, and Dan was always, was kind of in the mix, and we called him up and it was like, are you available to help us out? And he's like, yeah. And he totally nailed it.
Yeah.
He was great. He was great as the alpha douche. And he's got a nice body and was willing to be naked. Like, his first day on set, it was like, hey, can you get naked? He's like, sure, here's a cocksock. Like, okay, great. And he's perfectly comfortable with it, which is great.
Yeah.
He is good.
Yeah, and we didn't have to direct him a whole lot, because all of his kind of like robotic mannerisms, he kind of did that himself.
Yeah.
And like, he just really got the essence of a new robot being turned on and automatically being a douche to everybody. Right. He was really good at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like a lot of the improv moments, like in episode 2 and episode 8, where Brandon kind of shines, it's kind of all him. Like he just kind of understood and knew what he needed to do.
Yeah, he's very good at not ruining a take when others are trying so desperately to.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. There's the scene in episode 8. Is it episode 8?
Which one?
Impound.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Where...
Oh, and I get them.
Yeah. And everyone else is breaking on set, and Dan is pure professional. Nothing happens until after cut, and then we're all just breaking laughing.
What he's referring to is, if you remember the end of episode 8 when I got a dildo tossed in my face. Yeah.
Right in the face.
We did that 5
Very
times.
memorable.
Right. The take we used in the show, I believe, was the 3rd take, because I had a friend of ours, she just happened to be around where we were shooting. It's like, hey, can you toss this dildo at my face? So that's an odd request, but sure, I'll do that. But she was throwing it underhand and missed me twice. Like, the first couple takes, kind of off my shoulder and hit me in the chest. It's like, no, just throw it overhand, just aim for my forehead. She goes, okay. And then the 3rd take, we did the lines, and then I turn around, and she pitched it right at, like she's like 5 feet away from me.
Yeah.
She hurled it, which is why that takes, we didn't change the audio at all for it. That thud is real. You can even, if you go back and watch it, Kevin breaks just the tiniest little bit. You see the smile kind of, because we didn't expect that to happen. We just thought like a nice gentle toss with it in the face, but like, no, like real smack.
Oh, fuck in the face.
Yeah. But my eyes, like, I'm glad I didn't break, because I was in too much pain and my eyes started watering. You might be able to just, but Dan, nothing.
No.
Nothing. And it was amazing, because as soon as we yell cut, the camera turns down, because everyone just dies. Because it just, it hurt a lot.
First comedy.
Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't get a black eyes from it.
Wow. Try explaining that one. Hey, man, what happened? Well, got a dildo in the face.
Right. But yeah, and we did that take a couple more times. The 3rd one obviously was the best, but each time he was just stone cold.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Dan's awesome. Let's see, so Charlie, let's do Charlie next. He's played by our friend Kimberly Walker, who we've known for a long time. And in fact, when we were writing Charlie, you kind of had her in mind.
Well, I had never met Kimberly at that point. So he was like, no, it's totally Kimberly. And I'm like, okay.
But when we were writing it, I didn't know if Kimberly would be okay with the role because it's so domineering and sexual. It's like, she may not be comfortable with what we're writing, but I knew she could do it because I've been around her. We work together a lot, and she doesn't take shit from nobody, and is very much like, can be super sweet and like just adorable and nice, or can just turn on you in a second and be like, what? Fuck you. Get out of here. So like I knew she had it in her, but I wasn't sure if she'd be cool with it. So we wrote it. I had her in mind, and then when we had auditions for the role, I was like, "Do you want to come audition for this?" Thinking she was going to say no, but I had to ask. She was like, "Sure." I was like, "Are you sure?" Because it's a very sexual show, and there's lots of things, and you'd have to wear like a dominatrix outfit for most of it. Are you cool with that? Still thinking she's like, "Yeah, it's okay." I'm like, yes! So she comes in and just nails it. And because she just as I knew she would, just owned the role from immediately. Just crushed it. And she does. She's so good at being, she's just so good at dominating people. And being mean, when necessary.
And she has an amazing,
and what?
True.
She has an amazing laugh.
Yes. Yeah, well, you've got, as we go through, everyone's going to find out, you have a completely solid cast. You guys, you're so well cast.
Yeah. Well, and then we have Sarah, played by Mallory Bryant, who we hadn't met before the audition, and we had mutual friends in common.
Right.
And she stole that part from other people. She walked in and was like, oh no, this is my role. I don't think you knew this, but this is my role. No one else here matters.
So we had the people auditioning for Sarah read with Kevin, who's going to be her boyfriend. So Sarah walks in, meets everybody for the first time.
Mallory.
Mallory. I'm sorry. Mallory comes in, meets everybody for the first time, mentions oh yeah, we have mutual friends. This is great. She's like, okay, she's got the side. She's like, okay, and we're like, and action. She's like, oh hey baby, just owned Kevin immediately. Holy crap! Everyone else was kind of like, But she's like, nope, this guy is my man, my boo right here, and just oh, yeah, no, we don't have to see anybody else. Yeah, that's. Well done.
Great.
Yeah,
her sassiness is really good. She delivers her lines really well, her jokes. Just great delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the stuff she did improv.
Yeah.
That we kept in. The end of episode 4 with Jessica in the park, when she comes back, she plucks the corn out of her, but that's all improv. And we kept it in because it was well, okay, that's awesome.
Good.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's really, and she really grounded Steven, which was great.
Yeah.
And she's just an amazing actress. Yeah. She's really good. So that's a bit.
That's the main
6.
Yeah.
We could talk about ourselves being awesome, but
the mockumentary crew.
Yeah.
So we have Jeff Gibson, who plays the cameraman Jimmy. We knew through sort of the sketch world. Mm-hmm. He's with a sketch duo. Oh crap! Why did that happen?
You just blanked on
blanked on their sketch name.
It's okay. You're inserting it here in editing.
Yes.
Okay.
He's paired up with a really funny guy, Anthony Giordano. I remember his name.
Oh, I got that. Don't touch that.
Don't touch that comedy. There we go. They're really funny guys. All they do is digital sketches, and they have a podcast which we did. Was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so he also sort of joined sort of last minute. We're like, hey, because there wasn't an audition for it, and we're like, would you do this? And he was like, sure. We're like, cool, awesome. And there weren't a whole wealth of moments that he has on screen, but he makes the most of every single moment. And so we had so many people who joined the cast that either for just an episode or, parse throughout, that really are hugely talented people, and we're so lucky to have them because we didn't necessarily give them a whole lot, but they made those roles.
Yeah.
And also with that was the gentleman playing Sound Guide Bob, Izzy Wolfson, who I knew him. I'd known him for years, and I just didn't. I completely forgot because we hadn't hung out in a while. And he showed up he asked to audition, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. You would be perfect for this. Yes, please audition."
Sorry for the technical difficulty, but, it's not the first time you've seen that on this show, so what the fuck. Alright, hey, Pussy Hands. We were talking about the destruction of Pussy Hands. We gotta pick up on that again.
It was a really sad moment, because, I kept them for as long as possible, and we had them in a special bag, so they wouldn't squish each other or whatever, but I had to give the mannequin back, and I couldn't keep the hands. So I took a bunch of pictures of it to memorialize, and then just had to cut the vaginas off the hands. And really sad. And I also took off a little bit of the lacquer. You didn't mention that. Oh, and I gave it back to the person. But to take a overall. But yeah. But if everyone's good, maybe Pussy Hands will show back up again.
Maybe, you never know.
It's an absolutely classic prop.
Maybe we'll get funding from Fleshlight, and they'll be fully functioning. Who
knows? The future is here.
It is.
So now, about the writing, tell us about who writes the episodes.
We both do. Our process has been from the start. We work in the same room. Yes. On Google Docs, so we're both writing on a live document, and essentially we'll start writing, and if one of us, and we'll be talking it out the whole time. So we'll sit there, we'll be like, okay, what are our beats in this episode? Where do we want this to go? And then we start writing, and we'll be talking as we go, and then one of us will be like, oh, what is this? And then start writing, and then if there's a moment where we stop, usually the other one will pick up and be like, nope, I got this, the thought has stopped, or one of us has lost the thread. The other one will be like, okay, well, I got this, and start writing. Yeah. And then the other one will be like, oh, that's good. Let's do this with that. I like that idea. Let's do this. And that's pretty much how the episode.
Yeah, pretty much just passing the baton back and forth.
Yeah. Cool. Now each episode comes out to be around 7 minutes or so. Right? Mm-hmm. So, if you had to put a number on it for how long it takes from when you start writing an episode till you've got it wrapped and published, how long do you think an episode takes to get done?
It varies, because we typically have written a chunk of episodes, and then we'll sort of go back, get some feedback, and then go back and do another draft of it. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on how quickly we can get feedback.
Yeah.
Because, all of our words are precious and perfect. So the fact that anyone would have an issue with it is beyond us. They're perfect how they are.
That really speeds things along.
Yes, yeah. So having an outsider's view of that, someone that we know and trust, for season 2, We have a good friend of ours, J.W. Crump, who's an amazing producer and writer, and he's joining us and will help play that role of like, yeah, this needs to get cut. You need to change this, and not be precious about it, like we are.
And some sacrifices have to be made.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, usually it takes us a good solid afternoon to maybe knock out a draft.
Yeah,
like 4 or 5 hours or so.
If we had a day, we could probably knock out at least 2 episodes, which we've done before.
At least the first draft of it.
Yeah,
because that's the hardest part. Because the first draft, as you know, it's just throwing a bunch of sand in the sandbox to try to then mold it together to come up with the castle.
And then adding heat to turn it into glass.
Ooh, yes.
Turning it into glass, so it's a shiny, pretty castle.
It's shiny.
I like shiny things. Okay, so season 1 is done, and there's 12 episodes for people to watch. Tell us, what about season 2? Will there be a season 2? What will happen? When? How? We want to see it.
Those people who have watched season 1, no spoilers. It does end on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So season 2 will answer that cliffhanger.
Yes.
And yes, there will be a season 2. Yes, we are working on it right now. Yes, it's going to be bigger and better than the first season because now we get to expand upon all the ideas we've already did in the first season. Again, keeping it kind of slightly spoiler-esque free. Things have gotten worse for our protagonists. They find themselves in a not great situation. The team has been splintered slightly. I know. This family is ruptured. And basically, the team's got to come together and find a way out of their current situation.
All right. God, I didn't think things could get much worse for them, honestly. Things are pretty fucked.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. What about some fan funding for season 2? You have something coming up?
Our plan has been sort of what we did for season 1.
Yeah.
We didn't start seeking fan funding until after we had completed writing, because we didn't want to ask for money from people and be like, "Hey, it's coming sometime eventually."
We'll get it to you.
Yeah, we didn't want to be like that. We didn't want to. We wanted to have definitive goals and schedules of when people could expect a return on their investment.
And we needed to know what exactly we needed.
Yeah,
since we haven't written all the episodes yet.
Yeah,
we don't know exactly what props, what costumes, the background stuff.
We do know that we need princess costumes. That much we know.
Yeah,
for Adam.
For some, for people.
We've blocked out the whole second season. We know what happens. Just going back and then writing each episode. So we know what the calls are going to be. We know what the story beats are. We know how it ends.
Yeah.
We know who dies.
What? Holy shit! A JR moment. Wow.
Maybe.
But
we just got to write all the details out so we know exactly how much we need to ask for. Because even though we love the first season and we're extremely proud of it, we want the second season to look a little bit better than the first season. Mainly in the set dressing department.
We maybe should look maybe a little more like the future.
A little more.
I mean, in writing the first season, we had to be like, okay, we're not going to have a whole lot of money, so we have to be able to guerrilla this as much as we can. And thankfully we had what set direction and props that we had were thanks to a good friend of us. Brian. What is Brian's last name? Brian Hartlett, that's right. Who is an amazing, crafty guy. Who was able to we gave like, okay, make a future phone, and just did it.
Yeah. And those tablets that had little screens on them, that was all him.
All right.
And our editor,
who worked his editing magic for very affordable, thankfully.
yes, Mike, and I can't remember his last name because
Pasquarello.
that you are amazing. I cannot pronounce that. I know it's P and then a bunch of letters. That's a Q. But he did amazing because he just rotoscoped the thing in post and like put a screen on it, and we didn't even. I mean, it was great.
Nice.
It really sold because I mean, the first season we do kind of have to ask you, as the audience, to be like, okay, willing suspension of disbelief is 2034. Okay, guys, please just go with us.
Just go.
Please just go with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully the next season we can like show like, ooh, it's 2035. Everybody, look at the
Look at the advancements in technology.
What happened in the last year?
I mean, because that's kind of why we also set the show only 20 years in the future.
Yeah.
Because I mean, realistically, there'll be robots around probably in the 2030s, but probably not like humanoid. It's probably going to be a little bit later. But for our purposes, we kind of needed things to basically be like they are now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, New York hasn't really changed in 20 years. I mean, it's gotten cleaner and stuff, but like it probably won't change that much in 20 years.
No, we only just got touch screens in the subways.
Yeah.
Which is a technology that's existed for
A long time.
a good long time now.
Yeah.
So, you're like, since New York is kind of a character, a little bit a character in the show, we needed it to basically still kind of look like present day New York, and just go with it. Cars still on the ground. Don't worry about it. It's just people.
I think
basically
it works. I wouldn't worry overly about it because as a viewer, when I watched it, it worked and I liked it. Of course, that people have to work in the real world, but using sets that actually look like where people live, that's good in a lot of ways. That's a benefit. There's not a lot of distraction with trying to make everything look futuristic. It works.
Cool. Yeah, we use all of the calls took place in all of our friends' apartments.
Yeah.
So, like, basically, if we cast you in the show, that means we also get access to your apartment to shoot the call that you're going to cast. Just need an apartment to shoot in.
That's awesome.
Please.
That's awesome. I do have some. Hopefully, I'll remember. But I want to ask you something before I'll go on to the last question, really, which is a real bonus question for me. But for that, let's talk about this conflict between Brandon and Adam, which is absolutely hilarious because Adam Adam is a Gen 5 sex bot, and he seems to have a bit of a inferiority complex, intimidation, a little bit of self-doubt caused because of Brandon douchebag Gen 7 model. Tell us a bit about that, because it plays so well.
Oh, thanks. Well, one of the main aspects of the show that we wanted to talk about was if technology could talk, and if it's going obsolete, what would it say?
Right.
Because, what if the sex bots were basically like our cell phones now? Like, the new iPhone 6 just came out. Well, the iPhone 4 would still be like...
Yeah, the iPhone 4, my friend still has their iPhone 4S, I think. Or was it 4S?
I have no idea.
Anyways, they still have theirs, and it's like, oh, it still works, and everyone's like, oh, that's adorable.
But the phone would be like, please don't toss me away. I'm still good. I can still do all the things. Maybe not as fast, but please, don't throw me away. I'm fine. I'm good. I can still do the job.
Wait, what do you mean there's no more updates for me? No, I could still do it. No, I mean, it may not work as great, but I could still do it. Yeah, please keep me. Which is basically kind of what we wanted to, since these robots talk, they have thoughts, they have programming. They don't have feelings yet, but they have desires. They want to do their job. They want to continue to exist. They have programming that they want to continue. They have directives within their programming that they want to complete. And if they're unable to do that, then they have no purpose.
Right. And as you'll see in Season 2, and hopefully you saw a little bit in Season 1, how the AI robots are really different than all the other robots that are out there. Because of Steven, treats them like people.
Mm-hmm.
As you'll see in season 2, like Steven leaves them on, lets them be individuals, or at least as much as possible, to find other hobbies, to find other interests, to be their own people. Whereas you saw Brandon kind of be, have a hard time dealing with the family, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone else was like, we're kind of like people.
Mm-hmm.
That will be explored as the show goes on a little further, as we run into more robots who are more robotic than our AI bots. But we really wanted to showcase the Brandon being a douchebag, Adam kind of being all,
what do I do?
the next one in line. He would be the next one replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And he's constantly worried about that because he really doesn't. Because we saw what Amber, who was a Gen 3, right? Amber's Gen 3? Gen 4?
I think so. Something like that.
She's living on the streets. She got caught on that guy's dick because she popped it down. Adam doesn't want to be on the street. He wants to continue to be Steven's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And though, he knows Steven probably wouldn't throw him away, but he's not entirely,
certain that he will still remain in the house.
Yeah. He doesn't know because he is becoming obsolete. And that's scary.
Yeah, which drove him to worry and think about maybe getting a tentacle dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was a very good one. I won't put out any spoilers, but tentacle dick was very good.
Well, I mean, we wanted to play up Japanese businessmen and
Mm-hmm.
Japanese fetishes as much as possible, because I know in the West they're like, what?
They're comical because it's new and different, and it's hard to, for some people, it's hard to wrap your head around.
Get it?
Like-
Wrap like a tentacle.
You're terrible. But it's easy to make light of it because people don't understand it. It's not a fetish or kink that they can imagine themselves having. While it's certainly imaginable for furries to exist, and it's become almost mainstream of a fetish.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we wanted. We wanted to sort of explore all of these fetishes and if not to make fun of them, but to inherently find the comedy that's within sex.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to shame any of them, or it's a very sex positive show. We just think that sex is funny.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that when we were out on calls, the robots weren't making fun of the clients.
Yeah.
We just put them in funny situations in the call itself, and the audience throw their judgment at the call.
Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That was important to us.
Yeah.
It worked. Speaking of, the furries, that was my bonus question for myself, because when I first saw that scene, I just shit myself laughing. So if there's got a good story to go with it or something, because I love that scene.
Okay, well, so we knew when we were writing the show, we were coming up with everything. We knew we needed to, the first episode, basically being a pilot, because, it's a big info dump. Like, episodes 2 through the rest of them, kind of, more similar to what the show is. We needed to, really make sure that this is the information you need for, episode 1 is definitely a pilot. But we knew we had to come out of the gate with, like, this is what the show's going to be, guys. We're going to do some weird, sexy shit on the show. And we knew furries was kind of like a toe in the water. Like it's over the line.
It's a gateway.
Yeah, it's a comfortable over the line call that people be like, haven't seen that before, and we're like, and it's all downhill from here. And the thing was, our friend of ours,
Paul Valenti,
who is an amazing sketch comedian and writer, and he's a really, really, really funny guy. He had a bunny outfit that he used in a couple of sketches that we've seen time and time again. Mm-hmm. And he's always hilarious in it. And we're like, oh, this is perfect. We'll just have Paul in the bunny suit, and he'll just nail me from behind. And that was always the first version of the show that didn't, was kind of half right. The bunny call was in there. Like that, we had that from the beginning.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to Paul's apartment, And unfortunately, he got rid of that bunny suit at some point, so we had to buy another one. And luckily, we found the same suit. Yeah. So we had him put the suit on, and I got naked. And we kind of dressed out the beats to it. We wrote everything out.
Everything was sort of written as montage. So it was just because he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
It's a completely silent character, which was in line with the character that he had already done with his sketch duo, the Chris and Paul Show.
Okay.
And so we knew he was quite capable of speaking volumes without saying anything. And so we're all right, so we're going to do this, and then this, and then this, and we just had them written out, and he just took the ball and ran with it.
Yep. I mean, most of the things, him smacking me on the face with the carrot, that was all him.
Yeah.
The slapping my butt to the beat of the bunny hop was all him. The thing was, when I get bent over on the couch and get jackrabbited, the take kept going. It's a decently long take that we kind of had to trim down for the show.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing was, what we didn't show because we didn't know he was going to do it because he improv'd it. Once he's done with me, he kind of pushes me down on the couch, gets up and leaves. He went into the kitchen, grabbed a towel, came back and just kind of threw it at me. We stopped rolling a couple seconds after he left the frame because we didn't know what he was doing.
Oh, no.
We totally missed it. But it was unfortunate because everyone died laughing because it was just so good. But yeah, that scene's all Paul. I'm just following his lead on that one.
That is just so funny. I love that scene. Now, talking about scenes and clips, I have another one I want to toss in here because earlier we were talking about getting hit in the face with a dildo.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's just go ahead and let people see what the hell we were talking about and insert the clip of the dildo to the face right here.
Oh, thank God. Please tell me you have the money.
I do. It's in my special hidey hole.
Good, because I haven't paid the fine yet. Are you hard?
Hey, did you Pretty Woman Brandon? Is that a sexual reference? Should he have?
No, it's a 40-year-old movie reference, Brandon. They just remade it with Surrey claims.
Hey, you forgot your dildo.
Is that a Pretty Woman?
No, that was a cock to the face.
That, Adam, your look is just so perfect. Befuddled.
Honestly, I kind of didn't know what to do. So it was camera, okay, I guess this is okay.
It was a perfect reaction. It worked so well. I just love that. You guys have so many moments like that. I'll go back to an episode and just watch that scene. Okay, let's watch that again. Watch it again. Watch it again.
Please do. Yes, we love all views. Yes.
Hey, and I'll click on that ad if I see it for folks I like. Oh, you got an ad? I'll click that. Give you a little money. Anyway, before we wrap up and go off for the day, tell us about other projects and stuff you're working on.
Sure. I do lots of random shows here in the city at Pitt and the Magnet. Mostly I'm involved with is a group called Geeks Out.
Okay.
We're a national nonprofit that seeks to rally, empower, and promote and increase the visibility of queer geeks. We just had very successful New York's very first queer Comic-Con called FlameCon.
Cool.
And you're the first podcast to have this announcement, but we are expanding to 2 days next year. So there's a 1-day con this year, and it's going to be a 2-day con.
That's awesome.
Very big.
Where is it?
It's right now. I can't say exactly because we are finalizing the details. Things have to get signed. But more than likely, it's going to be in New York. More than likely, it's going to be in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So,
If
and
there's
it'll
a
be in-
general website or something already,
Yeah.
give me that information. I'll put it in the descriptions below.
Sure.
So that people can see that.
Geeks Out, it's geeksout.org. So geeks plural. And then also for FlameCon, it's flamecon.org.
Okay, cool.
It was really cool, and I went to it. We had a table for Gigahoes there.
Yep.
Awesome.
Very well received. People walked by and saw our tagline, laughed, and we had the trailer playing on a loop all day.
Yeah.
And we're going next year, obviously.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Anyone in the tri-state? No way. It's like people came from like
Michigan,
Carolinas,
yeah,
Wow.
for this thing.
came from far and wide.
It is. So if anyone's watching this, they're going to be around summer next year.
Summer, yeah, June, July.
It's fun. Because I know as we're taping this now, this is the final day of San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And we've been to New York Comic-Con a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
But the atmosphere of FlameCon is completely different than any of these other cons.
Yeah.
It was much friendlier and just chill, and everyone was happy to be there. And everyone was cosplaying. I mean, they do, but it's but not like in a creepy, molesty way, where it sometimes is at the other cons. It felt like a safer environment there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really cool and a lot of fun. And I'm straight. I didn't care. No, it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, totally. And gay, straight, queer, doesn't matter. Anyone should go to this con because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's just chill.
Yeah.
And that's really, I know it got reviewed a bunch of times.
A lot of good reviews.
But that was one of the main things.
All of the panels were packed.
Right on.
Yeah, and we had an awesome after party with burlesque and drag queens and performers. It was amazing. It was a great time.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. And it was its first year?
It was its first year.
That's awfully big for a first year. That's great.
Yeah. We had over 2,200 people.
All right.
So, and then also I do the podcast for Geeks Out. It's on iTunes, Geeks Out Loud.
Oh,
so
that's a good name.
Yeah,
very clever.
Yeah, the image is of Lois Lane holding a microphone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's and then you can find me on the Twitters. I am at Gilligan _Jew.
Okay, Adam, anything else you want to tell us? Plug?
Yeah, I'm really busy. So my normal job is I'm a warm-up comic for Bayside the Musical, which is going on right now in the Lower East Side of New York City. It's unfortunately ending in a few weeks, but in the fall we're coming back with Full House the Musical, which I'll be doing warm-up and lights for as well. That's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And you go to Bayside the Musical or FullHouseTheMusical.com and get tickets for either show as they continue on.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. Very, very funny.
It's a super fun show. It's
fantastic.
And sometimes Adam may make a special guest appearance. You never know.
True, I do the warm-up, but sometimes there's special episodes where, there's special weekends where we have, other things written into the show because it's non-union, so we can change the show at any moment and without breaking any union rules.
Yeah.
Where they need an extra cast member, and usually it's me in a wig doing stuff. But that's really fun. But I also do a podcast called the Movie Preview Review. It's with my friend Kevin Martini, who's a warm-up comic at the Nightly Show, and will hopefully be working for Colbert in the fall in some capacity, as he was the warm-up comic for Colbert Report. And he and I, along with Kevin's wife and our friend Jay, movies after just watching the previews. And we also have a special comic guest come on, and we just make fun of movies and have jokes and improv, and Kevin's done it a couple times. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like MST3K, the podcast, a little bit. It's really fun. Besides that, I also have another tiny little web series going on called Weather Girl Rainbow Bright, which you remember Sound Guy Bob, obviously our friend books, and he and I are news anchors at a desk, and then we usually just set up the sketch and then kick it over to our weather girl, who just happens to be Rainbow Bright, and she's not a good weather girl. My girlfriend plays Rainbow Bright, and she is adorable and hilarious, and you can find them all on YouTube right now. We have 6 up right now. We're filming 7 more.
Cool.
We're currently in between them, so we're going to keep just cranking them out because they're real easy. It's only a minute long, each sketch, so it's easy content. Besides that, I'm also working on a little Harry Potter trailer idea that I'm going to leave it there because it's going to be a big surprise. So hopefully, I hope it goes viral. It should be pretty cool. It involves brooms.
It involves brooms.
And I have a Star Wars project starting this fall, which Kevin hopefully will be involved in as well. That should be really funny. And then Gigahoes.
And then Gigahoes.
So when do you sleep?
I don't.
I don't sleep.
I'm trying to crank out all the content for all the people.
All this content in my head must get out into the world.
It helps that Adam's sole job is just Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So that's all he has to do. That's all he has to do.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Some of us have 9 to 5s.
And they are sad.
Others
of us are happy because we only have to work 3 days a week.
Woo! Alright, I'm going to make sure all of that stuff is in the descriptions below.
Awesome. And you can also find Adam on Twitter.
Oh, that's right. Also Twitter.
He does do that. Yeah. The Adam Lash. Soon. Twitter, if you're listening, Adam Lash.
Right? I found out, okay, so there aren't that many Adam Lashes out there. The only other Adam Lash, there's actually an Adam Lash who's a writer on the New Heroes.
Oh.
Yes. But he reversed his first name, so it's Matta Lash. I don't know. I friended him to be like, hey, we're fellow Adam Lashes in the entertainment world. We should be best friends. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. I didn't write that part, but I'm hoping we can be. Anyways, but I found out, like, the guy who's got Adam Lash hasn't done anything in, like, 3 years.
Oh.
So, right? Doesn't that kind of, like, avoid your call on the... I want that. I want...
You're in my way, pal. Come on.
Wait. I am the Adam Lash now. Look at me.
There can be only one.
Right?
Adam.
Right? Captain Phillips reference. Right?
So fresh.
So fresh. So fresh. Fresh meat. Fresh meat off the red. Shut up. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
You're so top.
Oh, guys. I'll tell you what.
It's been a long hour.
It's been a long hour. It's been a good hour, man. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to Season 2. Maybe someday, during Season 2 or after, some point, we can have you guys back, because it's a lot of laughs. Good time.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to be back.
Good stories. Obscene things to talk about for Season 2.
Right.
Respectfully funny obscene.
Right. Respectfully done. We're crude, but not horribly crude. No.
Right. You're not. I try and tell people, because you tell them the premise of the show, and they're like, I go, no, it's not a gutter humor show. It's not a toilet humor show. It's just a funny show about sex and robots, basically. It's a funny show. That's all.
Yeah, we did a panel at FlameCon and Diversity in New Media, and sort of talking about it and saying it's like we have this sort of idea of sex and that it's such a taboo thing, just in general, and that I'd like to be in this place where, and in this world where sex is commonplace and it's not whatever fetishes you have exist. It's right now they exist, but they're talked about in hushed, dark corners and take place in hushed, dark corners. And it's something we should celebrate and because it's fun, it's great, sex is fun. Usually.
And everybody thinks about it.
Right. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks about it. Everyone's got a fetish.
Yeah. If anyone's browser history, there's something someone is embarrassed about. You know?
And you shouldn't be embarrassed about it.
No.
Because everyone's got a fetish.
Everyone does.
Or 3.
Or 5.
Depends on how much free time you have sometimes. You know.
Right.
That'd be true.
Exactly. Adam has a lot of free time.
3 days a week.
It's been nice talking to you.
Oh, don't go. Come back.
Oh, shit.
But it's true. It's true.
Okay, well, guys, I'm going to wrap this and we'll say goodbye until next time, but it's been a real kick having you on. I've just been having a good time and laughing and smiling. Just really enjoyed it.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
All right, thanks. So, everybody out there, live long, prosper. We will see you later on the next... Okay. Tricky. Then, I used to do one where I used to practice it, so I go like this, then like that. Then, I can't quite do it anymore. And then back. Hey, that's good.
I can do it.
Really concentrating.
It's
I can do
hard,
it with
isn't
my
it?
left hand really well. Right hand, it's little.
The Vulcan shocker.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to
Right?
do it
No?
seems.
Come on.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the context of the show. Context of the show.
You know, and as long as people are still ashamed of their sexual desires, there will always be a market for sex robots.
It's true. Steven still blushes after I'm done pegging him in the ass.
Oh my god.
My baby can hear you, you know. Fucking robots.
Yep, future client.
That's one of the benefits of using a sex bot. They don't judge, they won't ridicule you unless that's what you're into, and they're dishwasher safe.